have my titles first because I'm motivated with the title. It transcends me throughout the whole book when I have a good title. I know the direction I'm going with a great title. And with this podcast, having the title first, it's going to keep us on track.
Yeah.
You don't get off on boring bullcrap, but you stay on the track of in your face. Then next time we do a podcast, it got to be something controversial. What have we seen in business?
Yeah.
What have we seen businesses do it's a bunch of bullshit, and that we don't want to emulate but you see companies are constantly doing this, but you look where the companies are going.
Yeah.
So if I take the list that we just read of all of the companies dying, do that show a company that you want to be a part of? But yet everybody do because of the name and because of the past, their past reputation does not ensure a successful future. And you see that now. Who would have thought Red Lobster would be closing up stores? Nobody. But yet, why? And we're going back to that little soup. Anima crackers ain't in that soup, but that's where they operate in. Just like little crackers, they take it in and put it in a control management. That's the word I was missing earlier when we was talking about this. Is you don't want to use a control management because then they're only going to do what you tell them to do. So there's no creativity, ingenuity. There's nobody busting the gate with new ideas. And because management only wants you to do what they tell you to do. They don't want you to try to grow it. And that's been the detriment of the companies we named earlier. Like you see, it's a direct interface in your face. It's direct in your face. It's in your face because basically you can't hide from the results. You can't hide from the results. But nobody want to talk about this. Why? Because the stock. They're afraid to tell the truth.
Okay. I'm not recording audio. I didn't know you were gonna. I thought we were just gonna.
You told me to go, man. You have me waste all of that. Why'd you tell me to do? You unleashed.
Just stay there. Just stay there. You can stay there.
Unleash. You unleashed me. Wait,
Unleash.
there it is. Unleash in there. Gotta have unleash because that's what we doing.
Okay.
I'm unleashed.
Unleashed and in your face.
Unleashed. So now, how do we combine in your face with unleashed?
That's it. Unleashed and in your face.
That's too much.
Then in your face.
It's too much. Unleashed, because
IYF.
Because right now what we're doing,
you've unleashed in your face.
You've unleashed us. You've unleashed us, and you've unleashed. We've been on Biz Talk Unleashed.
Biz Talk Unleashed.
Mm-hmm.
An in your face podcast.
Yes. Yep. You got to have in your face.
XYZ.
Biz Talk Unleashed.
But what I'm saying is that we don't need to like incorporate this in the beginning.
Yeah, it's gonna have.
I mean, if we do, we can always.
You're going to because you're gonna have because that's how. Number one, to stabilize your brand, you got to let people know what they're listening to. Okay, like you just read off a whole bunch of people. I didn't know Tony Robbins had a podcast. Yeah. Okay, because it's not controversial. But who podcast did we bring up?
Entre Leadership?
No. Whose podcast we brought up when we were sitting out there?
Oh, Myron?
Nope.
No.
I'm gonna give you a hint.
No. I don't remember.
You couldn't remember his first name.
Oh, Joe Rogan.
Thank you. Why did we bring up Joe Rogan?
Yeah. The Joe Rogan podcast.
Why did we bring it up?
Oh, because he's definitely controversial.
Yes.
Yeah.
If it's not controversial, nobody's going to watch it.
Mm.
If we're just sitting here talking about business talk, nobody want to hear that.
Right.
You done heard enough, we done seen enough on CNN, we done seen the lies. What you want is something that you have not heard before, like we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Everybody, number one, here's the thing, okay? The average person know their eyes don't lie. Our eyes don't lie. We see what we see. Now, we may not be able to explain it. We may not be getting into the what's going on, but we see what we see. Let me ask you this. You can call my wife up right now, put us on a speaker, and ask her, what have we talked about so many times about Red Lobster? The prices keep changing, keep going up. We've talked about that over and over and over. But let me ask you this question. What have Red Lobster given you that's new, that's been innovative? Now, you want to talk about a kick-ass company? Okay. Chick-fil-A. That's innovation right there. That's innovation. You want to talk about a dinosaur? Burger King. Who's trying to stir the pot. Trying to stir the pot. And until somebody wake up and go, man, look at Chick-fil-A. Look at Chick-fil-A. Nobody's waking up and going, Chick-fil-A has taken over the fast food industry right
Can
now.
I also tell you what I feel like is killing Red Lobster?
What's that?
All those seafood boil spots, like Mr. and Mrs. Crab or whatever. Like
No.
those are getting more popular because their offerings. They offer shrimp, they offer lobster, they offer blue crab, they offer snow crab, they offer Dungeness crab.
Okay.
They offer more than Red Lobster, and I feel like they've been getting a lot more popularity.
What's Pizza Hut's slogan?
Pizza Hut slogan.
Pizza Hut has a slogan.
I don't even remember. I haven't even
Nobody out Pizza the Hut.
Okay.
What is that saying?
No one creates as many pizzas as we do.
You ain't gonna beat me.
No. Okay.
Mon Pop, Jones Pizza, or look what happened to the one that Shaq took over. This is what happened to these companies. That's why you don't worry about the competition. You be you. Look what happened to these companies. See, this is kind of shit we got to talk about.
Yeah, we're talking about it.
Yeah, look what happened to these companies. Look what happened to what's the name? The one Shaq took over.
Oh, I don't
The pizza place.
Is it Pizza?
Yeah.
Papa John's?
Papa John. What happened to Papa? What did he do? He used a racial slur. There goes his brand. So what do you do to keep the brand from dying? You get rid of him, number one. But then you bring in a minority to pick that brand up and go with it. And that's what Shaq did. Shaq came in, took it over. You get rid of this guy who said stupid crap. Okay? What happened to Denny's? Denny's can't recover right now. What did they do? They wanted to serve a couple of black. They didn't want to serve a few black people. It went viral. You see how business killed themselves? So if you go into it being, if I'm a number one, I'm not going to be number two. I see you coming, Crab Shack. No, buddy, we got the crabs. Marketing. So I see Crab Shack trying to crap walk over to me and trying to sneak up on me. I ain't gonna let that happen, Blair. I see what you're doing. You ain't gonna get me like that. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bring out Red Lobster Big Crab Feast. Nobody can do what Red Lobster do. If they wanted to keep it afloat, they would have went after it like that. They would have recognized that they are the giant. That's nobody, that little crab guy. You can't blame it on that. You follow me?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can't blame it on that. But what they're doing, they're blaming it on that. You can't tell me that all of these stores, that these retail
Well, that's
places,
just an observation I made.
yeah,
That's
I know.
what I'm seeing.
No, but that's what they said too. They did say that.
They did
Yeah,
say
they
that?
said that.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't really look into it.
Yeah, they said that. Which shows a lack of management skills. Just shows bad management. If you ain't paid attention to your market share and your competition, what the hell are you doing? What am I paying you for?
I mean, now that we've segued into this, I do want to backtrack just a bit because I just really want to understand your with you, what's the difference between leadership and management?
Okay, a leader will spot this. A leader ain't gonna sit down and allow what you put me in place for. You put me in a place to keep you from shutting down a whole bunch of stores. That's what the difference is. That's why you put in leaders, because they would stop the mismanagement of stirring the soup. Every day I'm gonna make you a fresh soup.
Speaking of the soup, I mean, expand on that, because we were chatting about it outside, but we didn't really get a chance to tell our subscribers here or the YouTube verse what that is. Could you explain more about that story about your management?
I use the soup analogy because it fits very well with the way business operates. You take a soup, you put in, soup has especially where I come from in Louisiana, we had gumbo. And gumbo is a mixture of different vegetables, meats, and a nice roux and water. So, you know what? Let's call it gumbo. They're using a gumbo soup. Because gumbo soup, African word, is okra for gumbo. Because okra goes in that soup to make it thick. And you give that to a business. Every business has a soup. And what they do, who's managing your soup? Isn't there a book? Title something soup?
Chicken soup for the soul.
Chicken soup for the soul, yeah. And they kept going with that slogan. I think they have chicken soup for everything.
Yeah.
But you think about a soup, what goes in that soup to make that soup a great soup? There's soup, and then there's a good soup. Then there's a great soup. And so what companies do, they make a soup. And then they create this great soup in the beginning that everybody loves. Then they get somebody to manage this soup because the person who created it say, I'm going to step aside because now we've gone public. So I got to step aside. And so when they step aside, what they do is take the soup and they stir it up and they tell the management, okay, we're going to hire you. We're going to hire a ongoing management team to manage these soup. In fact, we're going to open up soups in 250 locations. And we're going to get managers to manage these soups. Now, here is the thumbprint. You don't change it. I put my thumbprint on this soup. Don't mess with my thumbprint. Okay, what is it? The ingredients in that soup is how I made my millions, so now we're gonna make billions off of my soup. And they put you in there and you start, and all I want you to do is stir the soup. Keep it from going stale, to keep it from burning. Just stir it. But what the owners of that soup did not pay attention to is that soup is going to keep cooking. It's going to boil. It's going to boil. And then when it boils, it's going to overcook the ingredients. And so now the manager go, hey, listen, we need to do something about this. We need to, these vegetables from what customers telling me, it's getting stale. It's getting old. Then what I want you to do then is change the vegetables. Good idea. So I go down here to my local grocery store and find some frozen vegetables, so I ain't got to cook them. Bring them back in, already frozen in a bag, and I just dump them in the soup. But that's not the original recipe. The original recipe was fresh vegetables. Okay? But I'm used to frozen ones, ice and all, and some of it's kind of freezer burn, but I dump it in there. Because you told me to maintain the soup. And as a manager, I'm doing what I told because you don't want me to change anything. Right? I throw in the vegetables. Then I keep stirring the soup. Now the vegetables are in there. I got fresh vegetables. Then I go back to now the water starting to evaporate. So that when the water starts to evaporate out of the soup, what happens now? Oh, I got to add water. Well, I need to. So you go to the board meeting, we're losing water. Add more water. Okay? I can do that? Yeah. Well, you don't say where. I go to the faucet. I get a thing. I add more water to the soup. And when I add this water to the soup, now my soup is back to the level it was. But what I didn't see is that the soup wasn't made with tap water. The soup was made with distilled water, which had no chemicals. It had no impurities in it. I went to cap that soup off with faucet water, which has all kind of impurities in it.
That'll change the taste.
It's going to change the whole taste. Now your customer's going to notice that you're changing something. When I first started eating there, it didn't taste like that. What's the change? Nothing. We've been stirring it I've been stirring it just like they told me. Okay? And so what happens now, we're going to give that soup, we're going to give those vegetables a name. You change the vegetables, which are employees. All you did is add ordinary employees. You didn't want any employees with some visionary. You didn't want any employees with some extra cooking skills. You wanted just ordinary employees. That's what you got. The water is the infrastructure of your business. It started to drop. You tapped it out, or you tapped it off with just plain tap water. You didn't concentrate on the quality of the infrastructure. That's what's holding the soup together. That's what makes gumbo is that you got to have a good root. You didn't concentrate on a good root. You just bought anything and threw it in there. Business is operated in the same way. You got your meats. Your meat is the main part of that soup, what everybody look to. When you change anything like that in a business and just start throwing in and letting people manage it without having a visionary, without having a focus, motivation in every aspect of that soup, which is the different departments, every part of it in that soup. When you don't manage that part of it, you're going to get a different soup. And then you start stirring it around. So now you start to see your sales from where they were when you started the soup was up here. Now it's down here. And then every time it goes down here, it may come up a little bit. And it comes up when you start putting in those frozen vegetables. Because people are going to say, okay, still don't taste the same, but you know, it's better than the burnt ones when I came in last week. So you start to see a little bit different. And that's the way companies operate. So then after a period of time, that soup just starts over, it's worked itself out. Your competition over here comes in, oh, I like what he's doing. But you know what? He ain't making no fresh soup. So we bring in a leader, and the leader say, every day I want you to make a fresh pot of soup. Every single day. You don't keep stirring the same soup. I want you to make a fresh pot of soup. So now your customers go over here because now you're giving them what they wanted in the first place. And so what do you start doing over here? Now you got 250 locations that's going downhill. So what do I do to make myself look good? I spot the easiest problem that I'm going to blame it on, and that's the soup. And then I'll blame it on the fact competition. Okay? So what I do to make my profit, I'm going to close up the store over here that's not making good soup. Close it up. You don't change, or I'm going to fire the manager. So we got a whole new crew of managers coming in to stir the soup. That's going to fix the problem. So we're not making the soup fast enough. So that manager comes in so we can make faster soup. Okay, good. So they go faster and faster and faster to run in the wrong direction that they was going in. And then a year or two later, they get very little results. But yet the competition is thriving. That's the Chick-fil-A. They're thriving. But yet the Burger Queen over here got 2 customers that they can't get out fast enough because they quit doing the fundamentals of business is training. So with that, don't make sloppy, nasty soup if you're in business.
Thanks, Greg. And then just to close it out, man, I wanted to hit home. Do you feel like this is a common problem in a lot of businesses, that they just often just, when they can't come up with the right solution, they just close up shop, you know, blame it on the competition, and then just keep their most profitable, I guess, locations, and just try to keep those.
Well, look at it. Early, the answer to your question.
That doesn't sound sustainable to me.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. And in fact, if they wouldn't have found the trend was back in the 80s, the trend was I lay off a bunch of people. I closed a whole bunch of stores. And then the CEOs went, you know what? I don't have to be inventive. I don't have to be creative or inventive. I can just close some stores, cut some costs, and then keep the numbers up here. It's fake. It's a fake profit and loss statement. You ain't increasing sales. You're decreasing expenses. But to get your payoff and to pay and to keep the numbers level, you got to close this store over here. You close the expense. When you shut a store down, you shut expenses down and everything that comes with it. You shut it down. So now I don't have to worry about that store anymore. So now my numbers, in a few months, my numbers are going to start going up. But they're not. The cost going down. The number of sales is not going up. So what it does, it sustains you. You're sustaining. That's all you're doing. It's sustaining. You're not growing, you're sustaining. Because all you've done now is shut down. Every business, every major organization, mostly, is practicing this concept because it was created back then. They don't want to be innovative. They just want to be able to show on paper. It's a deception. It's financial deception to make yourself look good on paper, but yet you're like a duck underneath. You're pedaling like hell, but you're cruising across. Hey, we're looking good. You're looking good. Numbers are up, but you're like a duck underneath. You're misleading. You're showing me numbers that don't really add up. And the only reason they add up is because you manipulated the numbers. But yet over here, this company is showing true numbers because they're kicking butt. They're being innovative. And so what happened, companies refuse to change. They have a problem changing because they don't have the visionary. They put in managers who don't have the vision to see that it's time to change my name. J.C. Penney, you look at all the different logos when he was alive, he changed. He changed with the times. Businesses have refused to do that right now. And that's one of the reasons you see so many retail shops closing, because they're not changing with the times. And that's the straight talk. That's the in your face that they won't do. They're afraid to go, okay, you're going to come after me? I'm going to show you that I'm a bigger and badder. I'm a badass. You can't touch me. And that's what I love about Pizza Hut, because Pizza Hut started to level off at one time. And then they came back with an explosive market saying, nobody's going to out Pizza the Hut. Nobody. All right? Domino's. Domino's was a dying breed. And Domino's said, okay, no. We're going to come back strong. Now people eat there. So you see this same thing happening. You can see it happening in fast food. So if you want to stop the bleeding, put in the right great management. I'm not talking about a subpar. I'm not talking about trying to turn your management team into leaders, because most of the time you can't. You have to put in good to great leaders. And you have to be on the same page that they know what they are to do to help your company grow. You got to institute that. If you're not, you're going to falter. And you're seeing it happen right now in technology. These people are striving, 20-something-year-olds, get it. But management, who's been stirring that pot so long, they got complacent, and now they're faltering, and they're closing up shop.
Absolutely.
Change the suit.
Okay. Yeah.
Change the suit.
Definitely. I see it, and it's prevailing. It's crazy just how much is changing in the world of business, especially with the brick and mortar style type businesses. But you've hit on a lot of points, and these are points definitely that I want to hit you up with next week for sure. Definitely. So yeah, I think that's our time for today. But Greg, thank you so much for your time, man. I appreciate you.
Hey, thanks for having me, and I'll see you next time.
Yes, sir.
In your face.
Cool. I like it. So yeah, that's that. So now we can circle that back out, and then we can. Yeah. I'm running out of space too on the. My cards.